Welcome and tell me who is Banana, what are you doing, where you come from, introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Bornona Hemuprabha Sarkar, and I am slightly excited and a bit nervous to be here. I work as a blogger with an e-commerce company based out of India. Due to the pandemic, we are all working from home right now, and it is while working from home, I started taking photographs as well. It's been nearly 11 months that I have been taking pictures, and balancing between my full-time job and my personal projects as a photographer is not always an easy task, especially when it is in between a pandemic, because I have very limited access to any kind of outside subjects. However, I try my best to weave my photographs into a narrative so that every time I'm putting up a picture or every time I'm making a photograph, to be honest, there is some kind of a backstory to it. And if you go through my profile right now and whatever pictures I have been taking over the last 11 months, they all follow a common thread, and that's the domestic lifestyle. Because of the pandemic, I think most of us have been, some of us compelled and some of us by choice have been forced to stay with our families for more than we expected to. And because a lot of us were used to living a very independent life, and now that we are coming back to home, we don't see things the way they were when we left first. And because of this shift in perspective, it gave me a lot of space to explore with my narratives while making a photograph. And that's a journey I had started last year, sometime in July, and it's still a process that's ongoing, and I think it will go on for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I've seen in your picture there's a lot of poetry. Also, if you are, we can say, a beginner in photography, no?
Yeah.
But yeah, I see there is a lot of exploration in your picture, and you're searching in a way the composition between also 2-3 different picture, and then this research of the poetry composition in diptychs and triptychs, you know. And I wanted to ask you. What is your connection with the body? Because you have a lot of picture talk about through the body, through the skin, and why you are working more with the body.
Yeah. So there are actually two sides to it. The first side is that I believe that the body is a very natural document of everything that we experience. It records everything, and it's more like keeping a stamp of what really happens in time. And our body is also that one particular, you can say, being that evolves with time. As our growth as people, the fact that we age, the fact that we go through something, everything reflects in our body. Or the fact that we are trying to bring about a change in our life, all of that keeps reflecting through our bodies. Sometimes our bodies are growing fatter, sometimes we are going thinner, sometimes we are chopping off our hair, sometimes we choose to keep our hair longer. So whatever we decide to do, no matter on whatever metaphorical state that it is in, it is always reflected through our body. Now, during this pandemic, because I was compelled to look more on the inside than what I wanted to explore outside, I felt that if I'm talking about a kind of story that is based more within, that is based more on people's personal struggles, then what can be more personal or private than the body? So which is why photographs of a body, I feel they reflect in a lot of way the person that we are and the kind of character that we are trying to build around ourselves. And the second thing, which is a little more practical than what I just said, is that I have very limited access to the world outside of me. And staying at home, I will have to explore with whatever subject is available to me. Now, that can be something as ordinary as a wristwatch or my glasses, or it can be something as private as my body or my subject's body as well. So these are the two primary reasons why I started exploring photography through bodies. And other than that, I have also been inspired by several photographers like Nan Goldin or Sally Mann. And I really admire their work with what they have done with body and the whole politics behind a person's physical appearance, the politics behind age, sexuality, and everything. And it's something I'm trying to learn, something I'm trying to put into practice.
Yeah. Are you planning to work in a way as a diary? So then for the connection you said about Sally Mann and Nan Goldin, they were talking a lot in a way of diary or putting out the picture as a scene, continuously scene of a movie of themselves. Especially Nan Goldin is a really expressionist about pictures, and she worked a lot with the hair figure and the hair moments in the life. So how do you begin to develop that research? That it's clearly you do it on yourself, as also you said now. And how do you see yourself in the nearly future?
So, like you said, that while it is true that it's more like journaling growth. At the same time, what I felt was very relevant in Nan Goldin's work, especially the work Ballad of Sexual Dependency. Yeah. What I felt was very prevalent in that work was the way she froze time, the way she froze moments. Like, there are pictures where you see couples who are frantically kissing each other. There are pictures where you see a lonely woman sitting by herself. Those are some of the most vulnerable moments when Goldin went and she captured them. And over the course of years, when you put these moments one after the other, it's almost like life is happening in these pictures, and in those particular moments is where Goldin left her own mark as an author. So while I don't know if my work already reflects that or if I'm anywhere close to that, that is definitely an idea I'm trying to explore, because like I said, the body represents, it documents us. It is the most natural record we could have. So if I'm capturing a body that is 26 years old versus a body which will be 62 years old, and if you keep them one after the other, they actually show you the way a person's life has evolved and what a person was and what a person could become. So in a way, I feel that my work as a photographer is a lot about journaling, but at the same time, I want to expand on that idea of journaling to not just personal stories, but also taking into account the changing political ideals that's happening around us. Like, currently, India is kind of underneath an extreme rightist rule. Yeah. And what is life like now, and what will life like be once this rightist rule is over? So that is also another thing which I want to capture. And yeah, like you said, I want to journal through those.
I'm really interested to know why, or if you continued this small project you started the last year with your mother. If you continued to shoot picture of her, I think this was different from other. I mean, in general, it's difficult to find people documenting the life of the parents, also because the connection with our parents is always close, and then close in a way like really not distant, but in the other way, photographically, it's complicated to follow one person every day in every moment. And I wanted to ask you if you still continue to shoot picture for this small project, or if you abandon it, and why?
No, I do continue taking pictures of my mother, because there is something very stagnant about her, but at the same time, it's constantly moving. When we talk about mothers, I'm talking from a very Indian perspective. Indian mothers follow one routine throughout their life. I mean, for the last 35 years, my mother has been doing the same thing over and over again throughout the decades, throughout the years. But there is something about her that is constantly changing as well. I remember a time when my mother was this very strict lady. She had these ideas about life. She had these ideas about relationships, and she used to tell us, "Don't go and do it." But now I find her to be a lot more adjusting, a lot more flexible with whatever I want to talk to her about. And I don't know if it is because we have both aged, or if it is because we have both lived through a considerable period of time. But the dynamics between her and me have changed. Another very important aspect of this is that my perception of my mother has altered a lot over the years. I mean, as children, for us, our parents are just parents, right? Like, they are people who gave us birth, and they look the same all our lives, and they never age a day. But for me, at least in the last couple of years, I've started perceiving my mother as not just my mother, but as a girl on her own. A girl who was once a teenager. She had her family, then she lost her father. Then she went to college, she fell in love, she got married. Then she moved, and she came, and she had children, and all of that. So the more I discover my mother as this individual person that she is, I think the more narratives I can get, the more stories I can weave out of them. So yeah, for me, the fact that she's a mother doesn't really complicate things, but they make things simpler for me, actually.
I understand, totally. I really like also the way you talk with your body. And I asked to myself if this had some consequence in your culture, or with your family, with your friends, to expose in a way also your body through the heart, through photography.
Not with my family, because most of my family members are not on Instagram. Not with my friends either, because they were kind of very supportive of what I was doing, and they want me to create more pictures. But yes, every now and then I do get some unsolicited DMs or comments from people I don't know, and people I have never met in my entire life. And I really don't have any other option but to block them. And sometimes it happens daily, and sometimes it doesn't happen for a stretch. But then again, nude art is a kind of space that can be easily misunderstood. I think for a lot of people, nude photography, nude painting becomes synonymous to soft porn, which it definitely is not. So I think it's very important for people to educate themselves more on this sort of art forms that are expressed or showcased through bodies, not to treat them as mere pleasure points, although that can be one of the many reactions they can have, but not the only reaction. So I feel it's not something in my control of what people think about my art. I can keep making art and leave it to what people want to perceive out of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask you also, did you receive, in a way, funds or someone pay you to make some work? Or is something for the moment you are just developing to explore yourself? And you are not thinking about to make money of it, but it's not the right word, the money of it. I mean, it's to improve yourself with more money and so more fund.
I did get offers from a few brands to sort of be their ambassador, like project their products, their clothes and jewelry on my Instagram page. But then I'm very strict about it. It's not something I want to do. I don't want to get into brand photography at all. But yeah, I do want to document. I do want to get into documentary photography, and I believe that once I have my work in place, for example, I love to work with women in the workforce, and my work always revolves around women who are working in tea plantations across India. So once I have a proper story with that, once I have a series of photo essays, then I would love to give it to a newspaper or a news website who can publish it. But other than that, I don't want to get into advertising photography at all.
So would you like to receive funds to make your own personal work as, I don't know, for example, an editorial publication?
No, I don't want to give my own personal work like the ones I have on Instagram for publication, because like you said, those are very personal. But then
I mean, to doing your personal editorial project. I mean, as your book or your exhibition. This is what I mean.
yeah, that's definitely one of the plans I have, but it's not something in the near future. It's probably once I have become a better photographer, I have established myself, maybe then.
What is the idea for you to be a better photographer?
Oh, okay. The time when I use Lightroom and Photoshop very less. I mean, I don't use Photoshop at all, but then the day I take that proper picture where I don't even have to edit it on Lightroom, that day I know that I'm a good photographer.
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
Nice perspective. So, if you have to give an advice to someone, in this case, I would say a woman, a girl, a young girl would love to start to document herself in a way, what kind of advice you would give to also overcome some prejudice about to work with the nude and with yourself?
I think not advice really, my first suggestion to the girl would be you need to be very comfortable with the body that you're in. Unless you're not comfortable doing that, do not take your own pictures. And once you're comfortable and once you have started taking pictures, tell yourself that every day nearly thousands of people will see these photographs. Thousands will come and ask you, hey, is this your photograph? And maybe a lot of them will give you some very unwanted attention. I want her to know that is normal. She doesn't need to feel ashamed of the kind of work that she is doing. She doesn't need to hide out. She needs to continue doing her work so that she can improve herself, because someday, somewhere, there will be an audience who will truly appreciate her work for what it is, and not for some perverse idea or something.
Nice. It's really nice. I want to ask you also how much is important for you to describe the world also with the words. So not only through photography, also how much importance has the words for you and how they define your world.
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
This is the problem of English. How, with your words, you define your world?
Okay. I think the problem with defining the world with my words is that there is always a lack of the right kind of things to say, the right kind of things to write, the right kind of things to narrate that can give you a proper description of the world around me. Every time I say something or I make a picture or I write something, every time I do that, I know I'm limiting that particular source to myself. As much as I would love to declare that I'm a universe in my own, but that's a very personal and private universe. There might be things that I'm saying out of my opinion, things that I'm showing to people, which are very narrow, which only I'm saying, which only I'm seeing. All I can hope is that somebody somewhere will find some kind of a relation to that. And when I'm using my words, when I'm using my photography or my writing or anything, to be very practical, I need to be very skillful and I need to be very clever about it. And in order to do so, I need to read a lot because because there are never enough words to express something. And the more you read, the more words you find, the more photographs you see, the more ideas and concepts come into your mind. So to answer your question in a more straightforward way, I don't think I will ever have enough words or enough work to define the world around me.
Yeah, that's what I think too. It was just a curiosity. And I wanted to also ask you why you stopped to post picture where you was writing on. There are some picture you were writing on, and was for me was amazing. And I wanted to ask you why you stopped to do it that.
I didn't stop it. I think I'm just not doing it right now, but I'll do it eventually. It's just when I'm creating a certain kind of work, I put out only a few on Instagram, but I probably have a whole body of it stored somewhere else.
Yeah,
so
you should show it, girl.
Yeah, I will.
Don't take it for yourself. Show to us.
Yeah, okay, I'll try doing that. But it's just that it feels like you don't have the right kind of audience on Instagram till now. And
I mean, in general, yeah, it's your only channel where you expose yourself, and there is also this website you have on Wix, right? These stories on COVID.
Yeah, that is a project which we started last week. I can tell you a bit about it. So,
Sure.
My friend and I, we both recently recovered from COVID. We were in isolation for quite some time. And in this period, we felt that there is actually nobody around us. We felt detached from our parents. We felt detached from our friends and everyone. Nobody was doing it. Nobody really wanted to isolate us, but we were feeling that way. And there were a lot of things that was going on in the world around us, the oxygen scarcity in India especially, and at the same time, the Israel-Palestine crisis. We wanted to document people's personal stories around these times. So we started talking to a lot of people. It was a candid conversation like this. We never had a proper questionnaire for them. We would just call them up and talk to them. And some calls would go on for hours, some calls would get over in minutes. And people gave us a lot of different kinds of opinion of what they had about COVID, their own experience about what they are going through, what they wanted to say to other people about it. For example, we had a police officer tell us that people around him sort of treated him like an untouchable when he was tested positive. So this project is kind of a very long project, and we have a final plan for it. Right now, we are just calling people up, we are recording their voices and everything. But once the lockdown is lifted, I personally want to meet these people. I want to take their portraits, and I want to create installations where the person's photograph is there along with the audio. And there's a headphone with it, so you can put on the headphone and listen to what they are saying and live through their experiences. So Yeah.
So I hope. Yeah, I mean it's a bit difficult for me to join in this exhibition, but yeah, I would love to see it here in Germany, maybe in Berlin here.
Yeah.
And to come to this point, I wanted to ask you: there are places in the world where you would love to go and travel. I mean, also just research, stay some months. Have you ever think about to go in a place somewhere else and do research?
Yeah. So I don't know if I should say this on record, but chances are at the end of this year, I'll be moving to France. And once I'm there, I want to travel all over Europe because I have studied a lot about European history. I have studied the literature a lot, and I really want to travel across the continent, experience people, make new friends, and I want to photograph a lot because I know once I'm in Europe, my SD cards will fall short no matter how high the memory space is. So Europe is one continent which I really want to go to, and other than that, there is Alaska. Alaska mostly because I feel I will be satiated a lot as a landscape photographer if I ever want to do that. And other than that, yes, I want to go all over the world, and I haven't planned for the rest of it. Just these two.
Yeah, so you are welcome in Europe, and for sure I will wait to meet you here in Berlin.
Of course.
And just let me ask you the last things. Where come from your energy? Where you think come from your energy? What influence you in a way to have this power to say whatever you have inside of yourself? If there is an answer to that.
That is a very ethereal question, that where does the energy come from? You know, some people, they are just inclined to arts as a field. Some people love to read, some people love to dance. There is no particular reason behind it. I think the drive comes when there is something you want to say, something you want to put out there in the world. That is where the drive to create comes from. And it's not just for me as a photographer or as a writer, it's for anyone who creates any kind of art form. If there is something you feel very strongly, there is an opinion you have, you see something is going wrong and you want to change that, then you will always fall back on art to do so. Some people will probably join the government, some people will probably become a doctor. Those are very noble professions and those are very concrete professions, to be honest. But art is somewhere where you come here to live, so to be. I think just the drive to be makes me create art. So yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Really nice. And thank you for your words.
Thank you so much for having me.